So I hope everybody is having a wonderful day, and I hope you guys are ready to crochet. I'm going to be showing you how to make my newest crochet pattern, which is a hexagon pattern. And I'm going to be making the extra small. The written pattern will have instructions on how to size it up all the way through to a 5X. So sizes will range from extra small all the way to 5X. I guess let's just jump into it. Okay, so first things first, I wanted to show you guys what we are going to be working on for the first portion of making this cardigan. I've done mine in kind of sunflower colors, and so the first portion of this tutorial is going to be on how to make this flower kind of thing I've got going on here. And if I measure it from the center out, you can see there it's 8 inches, but if you measure it from the center out to the edge of the petal, it's actually 9 inches. This flower is going to stay the same regardless of what size cardigan you are making. So I'm going to switch camera views because this portion I'm actually filming on my phone because I'm not able to get all of this flower into the frame of the other camera. So I'm going to flip the cameras around and we will jump into the actual tutorial. Okay guys, so the first thing that you're going to need to work up this cardigan is a 6.5mm hook. I don't know if y'all can see that very well. Let me see if I can get some autofocus in here. There we go. This one is my winter mouse hook. Maybe it's gonna continue to autofocus. There we go. Every time I have to push that button, I'm sure you guys will be able to hear it. So I will link where I got this crochet hook if anybody is interested. They do come with matching stitch markers, but I usually just use the safety pins. So you're going to need a 6.5mm hook, which I guess is okay. I think that's okay. You know, you're going to need your scissors and a tapestry needle to weave in your ends. And then you're going to need a medium weight for yarn. Now, I'm doing mine in a total of 5 different colors. I'm going to set these scissors over here somewhere till I need them. So this first one for the center of my flower is actually Red Heart Super Saver. I picked it up at the thrift store for $1. And it is the color Cafe Latte. And then the second color that I will be using is Big Twist Value from Joann's in the color Camel. So for mine, I'm actually using a combination of 2 different kinds of yarns. The first one that I made, the prototype, I also used 2 different kinds of yarn. I used Premier Sweet Roll and Red Heart Super Saver. So, I mean, it doesn't really matter what weight for you want to use. Whichever suits you, as long as it's a weight 4. So let me pull this out. And we are going to take this stitch marker off because it's going to clang against the table. So we're going to start with a slip knot. It doesn't have to, you don't have to leave a long tail at all, because we're actually going to be working over the top of it. So we're going to start with a slip knot, and we're going to chain 6. 3, 4, 5, and 6. Let's see if I can get a little bit closer. And then we're going to slip stitch into that first chain to join it into a loop. Just like that. So for the flower portion of this cardigan, your odd rounds, your odd number rounds are going to be your setup rounds for the petals. So go ahead and chain 1. This being our first round, the loop, that's going to be the chain 6 will be your round 1. So starting round 2, you're going to chain 1 and single crochet directly into that loop around, completely around the 6 chains. And you're going to make a single crochet. Now we're going to place 9 double crochets into the ring. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you're going to want to work over the top of this tail here. 7, 8, and 9. So those 9 double crochets make up your very first fan stitch, or what will be called a fan stitch throughout the rest of the tutorial. So next we're going to single crochet into the same chain 6 loop, and we're going to do another fan stitch. So it's going to be 9 double crochets. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you might have to kind of pull your stitches back a little bit to fit them all in there. 7, 8. Last one is 9. So we can go back and count just to make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and that is our single crochet. So to end the round, we're going to join it by slip stitching into that first single crochet just here. So in these single crochets, we are actually going to, well, first we're going to chain up 4, 3, 4. We're going to chain, or we're going to turn our work, and in that single crochet space, we're going to place a double crochet. And from this point out, we will call this our V-stitch. It's going to be a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. So that'll be our V-stitch there. And then we're going to chain 1. Into that same single crochet space, we're going to put another V-stitch. So a double crochet, a chain 1, and a double crochet all in that same stitch. And if this little tail here bothers you, you can clip it off. It's not that big a deal. It does bug me a little bit, so I'm going to go ahead and clip mine off. Okay. So next we are going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whoop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're going to skip 9 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. That's going to be our next single crochet space, and we're going to place a V-stitch in it. Now it's going to look like it's cupping, but don't worry, that's normal. And we're going to chain 1, and we're going to place another V-stitch there. So you can see we've got a V-stitch, a chain 1, and another V-stitch. Now we're going to chain 5, 4, and 5, and we are going to bring it all the way back around, and we're going to slip stitch into the third chain of this chain 4 starting chain. Hopefully I'm staying in frame. I have a terrible habit of getting out of frame. So we're going to slip stitch into this third chain. I always like to go under both of those, both of the V, the bars of the V, but I imagine you don't have to. Okay, so to work the next round, which will be round 4, we're going to loosely slip stitch into this chain space here. And I say loosely because we want our slip stitch over here. So very loosely slip stitch and turn your work. And then you can chain up 4, or excuse me, chain up 3. And because we slip stitch so loosely, it brings your starting chain over here to the other end or the other side of your chain space. So let me show you guys again, just so you can see it. Hopefully you guys can see it. Let me see, can I get this closer and still be... I just want you guys to be able to see it properly. So you're going to loosely slip stitch into the next chain space right here. Very loosely. And then you're going to chain up 3 and then turn your work. So this chain 3 is going to count as your first double crochet of your fan. So we're going to place 8 more double crochets into this chain space. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and you're going to have to move those double crochets. You're going to have to push them aside to get them all in there. I believe that is 5, 6, 7, and 8. So I'm going to go ahead and count and make sure that I have the right number of double crochets, starting with my chain over here. This chain counts as my first double crochet, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So that's my first fan stitch for round 4. So the next thing we're going to do is we are going to count. I usually count from over here. So we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, and in the 5th stitch of this fan from the previous even round, which would be round 2, we're going to put a single crochet, but we're also going to go around this chain. So we're going to work that single crochet into the 5th stitch of the next fan from round 2, but we're going to catch that chain space, that chain 5 space in the back, and we're going to just place that single crochet right there. And you can see that's what it's starting to look like. So now we're going to move on to our next chain 1 space, which is right here, and we're going to place another fan. So 9 double crochets. It's 1, 2. It's gonna cup a little bit. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So that's our second fan stitch for round 4, and to complete it, I guess not necessarily complete it, but the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go into this next chain space here and single crochet. And that is what it's starting to look like. You can see we are about halfway through, or halfway finished with this round. And we're going to place another fan stitch here in the next chain 1 space. So that's 1, 2, 3. I'm sorry if you guys can hear Kiwi. He's throwing all of his toys on the floor. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep. And then just like we did before, we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, and in that 5th double crochet of the fan from round 2, we're going to single crochet, catching this chain 5 space, and we're going to single crochet all the way around both, just like that. Like I said, it's gonna cup a little bit. That's normal. As the piece gets larger, it will start to flatten out. So again, we're going to jump into this next chain 1 space here, and we're going to place a fan. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Don't forget to place your last stitch. And I say don't forget because I've actually done it. There's this little chain 1 space here. We're going to place a single crochet right there in that chain space. And then we are going to slip stitch into this chain 3, the starting chain 3, the top of it, to join the round. Like I said, don't forget that last single crochet because I've actually done it and yeah, I had to go back and frog and it was just a... So this is what it looks like after 4 rounds. I am doing mine in multiple colors. So at this point, I'm going to fasten off and join my second color. Just like that. You can see that's what it looks like. So let me grab my second color and I will be right back with you guys. Okay guys, so I am back with my second color. And I am going to start off with a slip knot. So we're going to flip our piece over so that the wrong side is facing us. And we're going to go into this single crochet here. I'm going to tighten up that second color and we're going to slip stitch to reattach the yarn. And we're going to chain up 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I'm going to pull this tail through so it's on the wrong side. And we're going to double crochet into that same stitch, turning it into a V-stitch, just like that. We're going to chain 1, and we're going to V-stitch again into that same single crochet. So double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. And it's going to look something like this. So now we're going to chain 5, 4 and 5, and we're going to skip 9 stitches. So we're going to skip our fan stitch and jump right into the next single crochet, and we're going to V-stitch. Just like that. And again, we're going to chain 5 as soon as I get some more yarn out. We're going to chain 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We're going to skip our fan stitch, which is 9 double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We're going to jump right into this single crochet here on the side, and we're going to place a V-stitch. We're going to chain 1, and we're going to V-stitch again into that same single crochet. Just like that. Now we are going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to skip our fan and jump directly into the next single crochet, and we're going to place a V-stitch. Goodness, Kiwi's very talkative today. So we're gonna chain 5, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and we're gonna slip stitch into the third chain of our starting chain. So 1, 2, 3. Just like that. So this is what the wrong side looks like after round 5. Remember, odd numbered rounds are setup rounds. And this is what the right side will look like after round 5, which is, again, a setup round. So we're going to move that tail out of the way again. For round 6, we are loosely going to slip stitch into the next chain 1 space and chain up 3. And then we're going to turn our work. And you can see when you loosely slip stitch, it brings your starting chain over to this end of your chain space. And we are going to place 8 double crochets into this space. So that's 1, 2, 3. Gonna probably have to move them over a little bit. 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Make sure that you have 8 or 9, including your chain, your starting chain. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That gives you your first. That gives you your first fan stitch for round 6. So again, we're going to start counting from over here. This is a fan from round 4, and we're going to start counting from over here. 1, 2, 3, 4. In that 5th double crochet, you're going to go in and you're going to single crochet in that stitch, but you're also going to go around this chain 5 space. Just like that. And that is what it's starting to look like. So in this V-stitch here, we're just going to place 1 fan. So 9 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So I'm going to go ahead and move this tail into the back because it'll bug me if I don't. And again, we're going to start over here on this side of the next fan from round 4, and we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4. In that 5th stitch, we're going to single crochet, but we're going to make sure to go around the chain 5 that's behind it as well. So over here, we're going to place another fan stitch in our chain 1 space. We're going to jump all the way over to this chain space. We're going to place a fan stitch. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And like I said, it is going to cup a little bit. That is completely normal, and it will start to flatten out. I promise, guys. We're going to single crochet into this next chain space here. And then we're going to do another fan stitch in the next chain space. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And again, we're going to count the double crochets from the next span from round 4. And in the 5th one, we'll place a single crochet. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That's our 5th one. We're going to go around this chain space that's behind the fan, and we're going to single crochet. So this is what it's starting to look like. We only have one more fan to go. No, we have 2 more fans to go. I'm sorry. So jumping into the next chain 1 space, we're going to go ahead and place another fan. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 double crochets, all in that same chain 1 space. And again, counting from this side, 1, 2, 3, 4, in that 5th double crochet of the next fan, we're going to single crochet, and we're going to go all the way around that chain 5 space. Just like that. We're going to jump into the next chain space, or the next chain 1 space, and place our last fan. And I'm going to count just to make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then in this last chain one space here, we're going to place a single crochet. And then to end this round, we are going to slip stitch. And it may be hard to find because sometimes these double crochets can kind of overlay the starting chain. But we're going to slip stitch right here into the top of the starting chain here. So just here. And that is what it looks like after round 6. So to start round 7, we are actually going to turn our work and we're going to slip stitch back into this single crochet here. We're going to try to do it loosely. And you're going to chain up 4. And then you're going to place another double crochet to turn it into a V-stitch. So, in fact, I'm going to show you guys. If you look at what we've got going on here, you've got increases here, here, and here. We've got increases for the petals, and then in these right here, there's no increases. So as we work out, what's going to happen is we will start placing our increases here, and that's where you'll get the V-stitch, chain 1, V-stitch. And then in these areas, or these areas, you'll just get the V-stitch and it'll just be one petal. So, you know, in the corners here, in this upcoming round, you'll have actually 4 new petals. So we've got our first V-stitch for the setup round, which is round 7. So we're going to chain 5. And we're going to jump into the next single crochet, which is on the other side of your fan stitch. And we're going to V-stitch. And we're going to chain 1, and we're going to put another V-stitch right in that same single crochet. So later in the next round, that's going to be a petal increase right there. And of course, our petals consist of fan stitches. So chain 5, jump into the next single crochet and V-stitch. Be great if I could keep enough yarn pulled out. And then we're going to chain 1 and V-stitch again into the same stitch. So it should look like this. And you can see the chain 5s tend to kind of hang out on the back. Now the next one is not an increase. Can tell because there's already an increase here on the last setup round. And you can also tell because the petals are a bit, I don't want to say smushed together, but they're closer than what, you know, these ones are. So chain 5. And we're just going to jump into that single crochet here and we're going to V-stitch. And we're only going to put just the V-stitch in this single crochet. Now we're going to chain 5. And we're going to do another increase. So we're going to jump into this single crochet here and we're going to do a V-stitch. A chain 1 and another V-stitch. We're going to chain 5. Jump into the next single crochet and we're going to V-stitch. Chain 1 and V-stitch again in the same single crochet space or single crochet stitch. And then we are going to chain 5. And we're going to slip stitch into the 3rd chain of that starting chain. Hello, Kiwi. And it should look something like this after round 7. So to start round 8, we are going to loosely slip stitch into this chain 1 space here. Make sure it's loose. And then we're going to chain up 3 and turn our work so that our petals are worked on the right side. And we're going to place 8 double crochets into this chain 1 space. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Count and make sure that you have 9, including your starting chain. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's going to be your first fan stitch of this round. And then just like before, looking at the fan stitch from round 6, you're going to count over 1, 2, 3, 4, and then in the 5th double crochet, you will single crochet working around this chain 5 space. And then you'll be working a fan stitch in the next chain space, a single crochet, and then a fan stitch. And you're going to kind of repeat that all the way around. I feel like I've explained well enough how to do the increases. They're going to be right here, and then once you finish the petal increases, you'll just single crochet into the 5th round, or the 5th stitch of the fans from round 6. And I will meet back up with you guys when I have finished this round, and I will show you guys what it is supposed to look like. Okay, so I've reached the end of round, what is this, round 8? 1, 2, 3, 4, yep, round 8. So I am going to put my last stitch in, 1, 2, 3, 4, into the 5th double crochet of this next fan, working around this chain space here. I'm going to place a single crochet, and then we're going to slip stitch into the top of our starting chain 3. And I guess I could maybe turn the light on so that maybe you guys can see a little better. There we go. Just like that. And then I'm going to fasten off. Just like I did before. And that is what it looks like after 8 rounds. And you can see there should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 petals. So my next color that I chose to use is actually a Red Heart Super Saver yarn in the color Saffron. So just like I did before, I'm going to flip over my work with the right side, or the wrong side facing up. I'm going to get this hair off my table because it's driving me nuts. We're going to start with a slip knot. And just as before, these will have no increase, but these lower valleys will be increases. And it doesn't really matter where or which you want to start with. I mean, as long as these kind of lower valleys, or whatever you want to call them, between the two petals only have one V-stitch in them, whereas these ones that are a little bit deeper will be your increase, and those will have the 2 V-stitches. Again, this is a setup round, so I'm gonna insert my hook and slip stitch to join the new color, and then I'm going to chain up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and like before, I'm going to pull that tail through so that it's on the wrong side. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're going to place another double crochet into that same single crochet to turn that into a V-stitch, and then we're going to chain 1 and V-stitch again into the same single crochet. For an increase right there in that lower valley between the petals. Sorry about that, guys. So next we're going to chain 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're going to V-stitch in the next single crochet. Chain 1. I'm going to place a V-stitch right there. And then we're going to chain 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to jump into the next single crochet, which is one that will need an increase. So we're going to V-stitch, chain 1, V-stitch, chain 1, and then V-stitch again. Sorry, guys. And we're going to continue that way all the way around, placing your increases in these lower valleys and then just doing a V-stitch in these kind of higher peaks up here between the petals. And I will meet back up with you guys when I get all the way around, and then I will show you how to do the next round. Okay, so I'm back at the beginning of round 9, and I'm just going to slip stitch into the 3rd chain of my starting chain. Just like that. And this is what it looks like from the wrong side. This is what it looks like from the right side, and you can see the chain 5s are kind of behind a little bit. They're behind the petals a bit. So to start the next round, again, we're going to loosely slip stitch into the next chain 1 space. If you have to pull up a little bit, you can do that. So we're going to loosely slip stitch and chain 3, and then we're going to turn our work and place 8 8 double crochet into this chain 1 space. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. We're going to check and make sure that there's a total of 9 double crochets, which is going to include our starting chain. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And from here, we are going to work round 10 in the same manner that we have been working our increase rounds. So 1, 2, 3, 4 in that 5th stitch, working around that chain 5 space in the back. We're going to single crochet, and then jumping into the next chain space, we're going to place another fan stitch. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And then 1, 2, 3, 4 into that 5th double crochet, working around that chain 5 space, we'll single crochet again. And like I said, we're going to work in that manner all the way around till we get back to the start. And it'll be worked just like all of the rest of our increase rounds. And I'll meet back up with you guys to do round 11. Okay, I've reached the end of round 10. So I'm just going to Hold on. I'm going to make my last fan stitch here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. I'm going to do my last single crochet here in this chain 1 space. And then I'm going to slip stitch into the top of my starting chain 3, which is just here. Like I said, these double crochets here, they can sometimes overtake the bottom of the chain, but you should be able to find the top of your chain 3 just fine. And again, I like to go through both bars. I'm gonna slip stitch just like that. So this is what it looks like after round 10. It's starting to get a little big where I can't fit it all in frame. Maybe we can adjust the camera a little bit. So round 11 is super easy. I am going to go ahead and turn my work and go into this single crochet space here, and I'm going to slip stitch. There's not going to be any increases for this setup round, so we'll just be placing V-stitches in each one of these little valleys, regardless of the depth of them. So we're going to chain 4 and place a double crochet in the same single crochet stitch to make it a V-stitch. And then chain 5, 3, 4, and 5. We're going to V-stitch in the next single crochet. Chain 5, 3, 4, and 5. V-stitch in the next single crochet, skipping all of that fan. We're gonna V-stitch right here in this single crochet. And you're just going to continue in that manner all the way around, placing V-stitches and then a chain 5. You're going to chain 5 and then you're going to place your V-stitches in each of the single crochets all the way around. And I'll meet back up with you guys when I get to the end of the round. Okay, so I've got my last chain 5. We're going to slip stitch into the 3rd chain to join this round. Round 12 is just as easy. So to start off, we're going to loosely slip stitch into this chain 1 space. Then we're going to chain up 3 and turn our work. We're going to place 8 double crochet to make our first fan stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 total for a fan stitch. And then we are going to single crochet around this chain space into the 5th stitch of this next fan stitch from round 10, I think it is. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it'll be round, this is round 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4 into that 5th stitch around that back chain 5 space. We'll place a single crochet, and we're going to go all the way around doing that, placing our fan stitches inside these V's, and then working a single crochet in the fifth double crochet of each fan from round 10. And always remember to work around this chain 5 space. And I will meet back up with you guys when I get all the way around, and then we will start round 13. Okay, so I finished that round, and I went ahead and I slip stitched and joined it. So I'm changing colors again, This is Big Twist in the color Varsity Yellow, and it will be the last color of my little flower. So this round we're only going to be increasing twice. So just like before, we're going to join our yarn in any of the single crochet stitches. Pull that tail to the back. And then we're going to chain up 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Place a double crochet into that same stitch to turn it into a V-stitch. Chain 1 and place another V-stitch into that same single crochet. Chain 5. Place a V-stitch in the next single crochet. Chain 5. V-stitch in the next single crochet. Chain 5. V-stitch in the next one, in the next single crochet. And you're going to continue to do that until you get to the valley between the 2 petals that are directly across. So here's where I started. That's the valley I'm going to place my next increase in, and it should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 petals. So you'll have 8 petals between the 2 increases. 2, 3, 4, 5. And then another V-stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And another V-stitch. So how many do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Another V-stitch in the next single crochet. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Another V-stitch in the next single crochet. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This will be the 8th. So we're going to place our increase right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we're going to place a V-stitch in the next single crochet. We're going to chain 1. And then place another V-stitch into the same single crochet. So for the rest of this round, we will just be doing chain 5s, skipping our fan stitches, and then placing V-stitches in all of the single crochets until we get back to the end of the round where we will slip stitch to join. Okay, so I'm back and I've joined the setup round. So we are going to slip stitch into the chain space loosely. Make sure it's loose. And then we're going to chain up 3. And we're going to place 8 double crochet in that chain 1 space. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Counting our chain 1 or counting our chain 3 starting chain, we should have 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And we're going to work this round the same way we've been working other increase rounds. So 1, 2, 3, 4 in that 5th double crochet, working around the chain. And we're going to go all the way around working in that manner. At the end of this round, you should have 18 petals, 2 of which will be increases. So this one here where I started will actually have 2 petals, one here and one here, with a single crochet in the center. And then on the other side, it will be the same thing. It'll be an increase. So a petal here, and a single crochet. But it will make a total of 18 petals. And I will meet back up with you guys when I get all the way around. Okay, so here I am. I've got my last row already joined. So we are going to do the last setup round for the flower, which is really just a repeat of round 11. So we are going to go ahead and turn our work so that the wrong side is facing us. And we're going to slip stitch into this single crochet. And we're going to chain up 4. And then place a double crochet in the same stitch to turn it into a V-stitch. And then we are going to chain 5. Skip over to the next single crochet and place another V-stitch. And you're going to be doing that all the way around until you get back over here, where you're going to go ahead and join the round. Just chain 5s and then V-stitches into the single crochet of the previous round. And I will meet back up with you guys when I get all the way around. Alright, so I have completed this last setup round, and I've joined it. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do a loose slip stitch into that chain 1 space. If you have to pull up a little bit, that's fine too. Just make sure that it's looser. And then we're going to chain 3 and turn our work so that our fans are on the right side, and we're going to place 8 double crochet into this chain 1 space. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So counting our starting chain, that should be 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If I can get my hook back in the loop. Alright. Now we are going to put our single crochet into the 5th double crochet of the fan from, what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, from round 14. The next fan of round 14. So this fan here. So 1, 2, 3, 4 into the 5th double crochet, and around that back chain 5 we're going to place a single crochet. And we're going to do that all the way around. There aren't going to be any increases, but we will go all the way around, just repeating that until we get back here. At the end of this round, you should have 18 total petals, and I will meet back up with you guys when I get back around to show you what we are going to do next. Okay guys, so here's the second flower. I'm going to try to get it all in there. You can see it's kind of rumply. It doesn't lay completely flat. And let me see. If we measure it, it's a little bit smaller than the other one. So the other one measured about 8 inches in the valley. Oh, well, it helps if you don't drop the tape measure. If we put that there, it measures about 8 inches in the valley. It's a little bit smaller. It's basically the point I'm getting at. So if we move that one and lay out this one, it's much flatter. Much flatter. This one has been blocked. And I'll show you the difference. Sorry about my camera skills, guys. I'm having to do this section of the video on my phone. So you can see how much smaller the second flower is compared to the first one. So Let me switch the cameras back around and we'll talk about how we are going to fix this. Okay, so I showed you guys in the last clip, that I had finished all of my petals, and you can count them. If you start here where I fastened off, it should be 18. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18 petals. Also in my last clip, I showed you how much smaller this petal is compared to the other one. So to fix this kind of rumply texture we have going on here, the first thing that we have to do is we have to go ahead and weave in our ends. Once all of the ends are woven in, we are going to be blocking just the flower piece. Now, I have a few more ends to weave in just because of my color changes. If you used a solid color or, a self-striping, something of that nature, then you may not have as many. But like I said, because I used several different colors of yarn, I'm going to have a few more. Now, as far as the blocking goes, you do have to, you're gonna have to block it because it's gonna, otherwise it's bunchy underneath the arms. So this flower piece has to be flattened out so that the flower portion of the hexagons don't bunch under the arms, which I only found out through making a prototype for my daughter. So, and you can tell just by looking at them, this one is much flatter. It's got a lot more drape to it than the second one, and that is because this one has already been blocked. Now, you can use whatever preferred method of blocking that you want to use. My preferred method for blocking is to directly steam block. That is something that you have to be careful with, especially with acrylic yarns, because acrylic yarns do melt. If you're not familiar with what directly steam blocking it is, with what direct steam blocking is, that is when you you can use an iron on a low setting, and rather than just go over the top of it and steam it, you put the iron directly on the fabric and steam it directly, and that is my preferred method. But again, you have to be very careful doing that because acrylic yarn will melt. There are other ways that you can block your piece, including pinning it down. Also, another thing you might notice is here in the center, it's a little bit shiny. That is due to the blocking. It's not as shiny. The other colors are not quite as shiny. I'm thinking that that's probably because maybe it's a darker color and the shininess just shows up a little better. But I prefer the direct steam method because it does add a lot of drape to the piece. You can tell just by these two pieces how much drape this one has compared to this one, which is not nearly as loose and floppy. It's quite a bit more stiff. Also, if you look, these stitches are a little bit flatter there. I don't know if you would call them relaxed. They're not as puffy. Like, the yarn is not as puffy And this yarn here, especially the Red Heart Super Saver in saffron, is a lot rougher than what it is on this one, because this one has been blocked. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this first flower aside so that I can weave in the ends and block it later this evening, and then I will continue to show you how to make the rest of the hexagon using this first flower that I've already made. Okay guys, so I'm back, and I am using another Red Heart Super Saver. This is another one that I picked up at the thrift store. This one I picked up for $1. The color is called Medium Time. So this is what I'm going to be using to turn my flower into a hexagon. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to start off with a slip stitch. My flower is a little too large to get all on camera, so hopefully, you know, that's not too much of a big deal for you guys. And hopefully this medium time color is not too dark that you guys won't be able to see the stitches. At least that's the hope. It might be, I don't know. But here's to hoping. If nothing else, you have narration. So we are gonna rejoin our yarn in the 5th stitch of any fan. It doesn't matter which one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're gonna go in right here, tighten that loop up, and then we are going to slip stitch to join. And we're doing this with the right side facing us. So we're going to chain up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is going to count as our first leg of our corner, as well as a chain 2, and then we are going to place a double crochet in this same stitch to make our first corner. So our corners consist of 1 double crochet, 2 chains, and then another double crochet. Now we're going to put 3 double crochet, 1 in each of these next double crochets. So 3 double crochet, that's 1, 2, and 3. I think you guys can see the stitching all right. And then we're going to do 3 treble stitches. So yarning over twice, going into the next stitch, we're going to make a treble. Into the single crochet, we'll make another treble. And into that first double crochet of the next fan, we will place a 3rd treble. Now we're going to place 3 more double crochet. Maybe I need to move my table just a little bit closer. 3 more double crochet. So that's 1, 2, and 3. Sorry, give me a second to pull out some yarn. Next, we're going to place 1 half double crochet. And then we're going to place another 3 double crochet. And then 3 more treble crochets. Where am I at here in my notes? 3 more double crochets. One half double crochet. Oop. 3 more double. And then 3 more treble. Oop. Keep wanting to do double when I'm supposed to be doing trebles. And then 3 more trebles. Or doubles, I'm sorry, 3 more doubles. Okay, so at this point you should have 29 stitches from your corner, not counting your corner stitch, but there should be 29 stitches here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. So once you have these 29 stitches, you're ready to make another corner. And you're going to place that in that 5th stitch of this fan here. So 1 double crochet, chain 2, 1 double crochet, all into the same stitch. And you're going to repeat this sequence here with the 3 double crochet, 3 trebles, 3 double crochet, 1 half double crochet. You're going to repeat that 6 times from here to here, and it should give you 6 corners. So I will do it one more time with you guys. So 3 double crochet, it's 1, 2, and 3, and then 3 trebles, 1, 2, 3, then 3 more doubles, and then 1 half double crochet, 3 doubles, 3 trebles, 3 doubles, 1 half double, and then 3 more trebles, 3 more trebles, that's 1, 2, 'Let me see something. That's clearly a chain 3 space. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. Yeah, that's where I wove in an end. You can tell. It's a little wonky. And then 3 doubles. Let me count and make sure I didn't go over, because I may have gone over. So that's our corner, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, and 29, and so that is where our next corner will go. I will put this particular round I will put on the screen so that if you want to pause it and watch it that way, we can do that. You can do that, because I know this one can be a little bit hard to keep track of. and I will meet back up with you guys when I get all the way around. Okay guys, so I'm back. I hope that this lighting isn't bothering anybody. I do have kind of a harsh light coming through here. That is actually the light coming in through the balcony. So you can see I've made it all the way around both of my flowers using the round with the trebles and the double crochets and the half double crochets. Now I'm making a small, so I only needed the one round, but the written pattern will have instructions on how to make it larger. You know, for a larger size, you would just continue doing rows of double crochet until you reach the measurements recommended in the written pattern. So for mine, you guys can see it measures 9 inches out to the side, and so that is exactly what I need for a small. Now, setting that flower aside, I have taken this flower and I have already folded it in half with the wrong side facing out. So this here will be our sleeve hole, and this will be our shoulder, and then this edge here that runs down this way, that's going to be the front of our cardigan, with the bottom being the bottom of the cardigan. So I have taken a stitch marker and I've counted 9 stitches in from our shoulder. So basically, counting this chain 1 space, so we have the chain 1 and then we have 8 stitches. So that chain 1 and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Go ahead and mark that stitch and go ahead and place it all the way through to the other side, because this is going to be the starting point of our collar. So we're only going to be seaming up from here to here for our sleeves. The rest of the sleeves from here out is actually going to be worked in the round at a later date, or at a later point. So it doesn't really matter terribly how you choose to seam up your cardigan. I like to do slip stitches, but if you want to use, say, the mattress stitch, or you want to single crochet, you can do that too. Just make sure that your seams are on the inside of your cardigan, and to achieve that, you want to make sure that the wrong side of your flower is facing you. So I'm going to start from the outside of the sleeve and work my way in. I really hope that light is not too terribly distracting. I normally would have, waited at least until, the sun went down or something to film, but Casey is outside playing with her cousins, and I wanted to take advantage of the time to get some of the tutorial filmed, and I hope you guys understand. So yeah, I'm just doing slip stitches to seam it up. 1 slip stitch in each stitch. I can actually bring it down if my camera would cooperate. Of course, it's not going to. There it goes. Oh, there we go. That's a little better. So I'm just slip stitching into each stitch, just like that. And I'm gonna do this all the way across. Hopefully my camera's staying focused. I'm gonna do this all the way across until I hit that stitch marker there, at which point I'll fasten off. So just like that, all the way across, and then I'll fasten off when I reach this stitch here. Okay, so I'm back, and you can see that I have seamed up my shoulder, or yeah, the shoulder piece here on both of my flowers. I've seamed up the shoulders, and I have them turned so that they're kind of facing opposite directions, so that your sleeve holes are going to be facing opposite. You still should have your your wrong side facing you. And so what we're going to do now is we are going to seam up the back. Now for seaming up the back, you are going to want to use a slip stitch, because we are going to be making a sort of a triangle up at the top here. Oops, I bumped the camera, sorry guys. So in these corners here, from here to here is going to be part of your collar, but this chain one here, this chain one, or the second of your chain two space here, that one plus 9 stitches we're going to count down. So counting that one plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And we're going to put that stitch marker right there in that 10th one. So that should give us a total of 10, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Whoop, I counted one extra. So right there like that. And we are going to do the same thing on this side, counting this chain one right here as the first stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And that 10th stitch we're going to mark. Now, we're going to be working from the bottom up, and we can go ahead and kind of move this out of the way. We're going to be working from the bottom up, so we'll be working from this corner up to this stitch marker, and you're going to want to go ahead and use the slip stitch to join, because once we get up to this stitch marker, we're going to be doing something specific. So go ahead and put your slip knot, or your slip knot onto your hook, and we're going to be working into that first chain one space of your corner. can move the camera back down, I guess. That would be helpful. That way you guys can see what I'm doing. We're going to work into that chain space. Not the chain space, but the actual chain stitch for the first stitch. Or for the first slip stitch. We're going to be working directly into that chain stitch. Just like that. And you're just going to slip stitch to join those two together. And we are going to keep slip stitching all the way until we reach that stitch marker, which shouldn't take too long. I will go ahead and meet back up with you guys when I get up here to this stitch marker, because we are going to be doing something specific to these stitches up here when we go to join the rest of the back. Okay, so I have reached that stitch marker that we put in the back panel, and we're going to go ahead and pull that stitch marker out. Remember, it should be 10 stitches that we have there. And so what we're going to do is, through just this first panel, we are going to single crochet. And then into the back panel, we're going to single crochet right there. And we're going to do that again, single crochet into this panel here, into the first flower panel. And then we're going to do it again into the back panel. And we're going to do that 2 more times for a total of 8 single crochets. So 1 single crochet in the front, 1 single crochet in the back, 1 single crochet in the front, 1 single crochet in the back. Now, that's what it's going to look like. And you should, on one panel, have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stitches left on the front panel, and 6 stitches left on the back panel. So now we're going to do a half double crochet in the front panel, and a half double crochet into the next stitch of the back panel. We're going to do that 2 more times for a total of 6 half double crochets. So half double crochet in the front, half double crochet in the next stitch of the back, which is right there. Half double crochet in the front, half double crochet in the back. So now you should have 2 double crochets left in the front panel, 1, 2, plus a chain space here. not including this chain space, but you should have this chain space here. And you should have the same going on in the back. 2 double crochets and 1 chain space. And so we're going to double crochet in the front panel, double crochet in the back panel, double crochet in the front panel, double crochet in the back panel. And now we're up to just our chain 1 spaces, and we're going to double crochet in that chain 1 space, or that chain 1 stitch, not the space, the stitch. And I always like to go through both bars, but you don't have to. It's not absolutely necessary. Of course, there goes my phone. So 1 double crochet into that chain in the front panel, and then 1 double crochet into the chain in the back panel. I hope I'm staying in frame, guys. Just like that. And then we can just go ahead and fasten off. So what this has done is it has created somewhat of a little triangle, and it's lengthened out your neckline, or where your collar would be. So that is what the triangle situation is all about in the back. It lengthens, it adds a little triangle V here that makes the neckline a little bit wider. Alright guys, so next we're going to add length. As you can see, I still have the wrong side facing me, and we're going to be working into these spaces here. We are going to start with the wrong side facing us, just because when you flip it over, it will be right side and then wrong side. Right? Yeah. So to start off, I'm still using this medium time color by Red Heart. And so we're going to be adding length to the bottom of the cardigan. This is the bottom edge of my cardigan. How long you want your cardigan really depends on you. Again, you can look on Craft Council or Craft Yarn Council, and that link will be in the description box as well as in the written pattern, and they can give you some ideas as to how long you might want your cardigan. But we're going to start here in this chain space, or this chain stitch here. And we're just going to slip stitch to join it, and then chain up 3. That chain 3 is going to count as your first double crochet. And then you're just going to double crochet all the way across here. Kiwi's, of course, got to give his 2 cents. Can move this camera just a little bit, get it a little closer. So this is just adding length to your to the bottom of your cardigan. Now there will be more length added when we go to do the edging. As the edging will go around the bottom of the cardigan, the inner edges, as well as around the hood. So you might keep that in mind when you are deciding how long to make your cardigan. But it will just be 1 double crochet all the way across, and then when you get here, you'll place 1 double crochet into that chain space and 1 double crochet into this chain space as well. There won't be any decreases or anything like that. When you get to the end of the row at this corner here, you will work your last double crochet into this chain space here, or this chain stitch here, but you won't work one in this. You'll just work one in this one here. So I will meet back up with you guys after I have worked a couple of rows. I think I'm probably going to work maybe 3 or 4 rows. I don't know. I haven't decided just yet. But probably, I usually do 3 or 4 rows. I think on Casey's, which was an extra small, I did 3. So maybe with this one, I'll do 4. Like I said, it's really all up to the person who is making the cardigan as to how long they want their cardigan to be. Okay, guys, so here at the bottom of my cardigan, I ended up adding 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows of double crochet to add some length. And I only added 5 because when I go to add the edging, that's going to add another 4 rows or so. So it'll add another, I think 3 inches to the bottom of this. But right now we are going to start working on the hood. So the hood's pretty simple. If I can find the end of my yarn. First thing we're going to do is get our slip knot ready. And with the right side of your cardigan facing you, you're going to reattach your main color into this chain stitch right here. Here's your corner. Your corner is a double crochet, chain 2, and then a double crochet. We're going to attach it into that second chain 2. Or excuse me, that second chain stitch. Sorry. We're just going to slip stitch to join it. Like that. And we're going to chain up 3, which does count as a chain or as a double crochet. Let's see. Hopefully I can stay a little bit better in frame than what I usually do. I know I'm terrible at that, guys. Y'all probably heard me say that about 15 times during this tutorial. So we're just going to be placing 1 double crochet into each stitch. Until we get to where our seam is at. Okay, so I'm at where the seam is. This stitch is already has a slip stitch in it to join the seam, but we are going to go ahead and place a double crochet in that stitch anyways. And same on the other side. This stitch technically already has a slip stitch right here on the inside to seam it up, but we're going to go ahead and place a double crochet in that stitch as well. And then we're going to continue across, placing 1 double crochet in each of the stitches until we get to the triangle of our collar. Okay, so here we have a corner just before the triangle, and we've already used one of these chain stitches up to make the triangle. This chain stitch we're going to go ahead and place, well, you can place it around if it's easier. It's not going to make too much of a difference. So go ahead and place it around, and then we're going to place 2 double crochets around this double crochet here. And remember, that double crochet is part of the little triangle that we made to kind of make our collar a little bit longer. So you're going to place 2 there. And then you're going to place 2 in the next double crochet. And then you're back at a corner here, and you're going to go ahead and place 1 in that chain space. And then you're just going to double crochet across till you get to your next seam. And then when you get to your next seam, you're going to go ahead and place a double crochet in that stitch that also has a seam in it. So on both sides of the seam, you're going to have a double crochet. And then you're going to double crochet all the way across till you get to your next corner. And then in that chain space, or the chain stitch right there, you're going to go ahead and place your last double crochet of that row. And then we're going to chain up 3, and we're going to go and work a row of double crochets. So chain up 3. That chain 3 counts as your first double crochet, and you're going to just be working double crochets in each stitch all the way across. So the first one of these cardigans that I made, I did 17 rows, which gave me a hood that was approximately 10 inches tall. So 17 rows gave me approximately 10 inches. Now, you can add or subtract. If you add, it will make your hood a little bit looser. If you subtract, it will make your hood a little bit tighter around your face. But I found that 10 inches was about average. So you're just gonna go back and forth making rows until you get to the desired hood height that you prefer. This is another one of those things that is up to the maker's discretion. You know, some of us like really loose hoods, some of us like really tight hoods. So yeah, I will go ahead and meet back up with you guys after I have finished the number of rows that I want to do for my hood, and when I get back, I will show you guys how to seam the hood up, and we will move on to edging. Alright guys, so I'm back, and as you can see, I have completed 17 rows of double crochet, which gives my hood the height of approximately, let's measure it real quick. Let me measure it real quick. Just over, it's about 10.5 inches tall. So that's what I'm shooting for. I did 17 rows of double crochet. You can add or subtract rows depending on how loose fitting you want your hood to be. Now, I stopped on an odd number, which means that currently the right side of my hood, or the right side of my cardigan, is facing me. So the sleeves are facing me and the inside of the jacket is facing away from me. So depending on how many rows you do, you're going to have to turn your work and orient it in such a way that you are going to be seaming up the inside of the hood. So we want the seam on the inside of the hood. So for me, that's going to require turning my work so that the inside of the cardigan is facing me. And then, rather than folding it this way, I'm going to fold it this way, if that makes sense. So I don't want to fold it this way and then seam it. I want to fold it towards me and then seam it this way. That way, when we turn our hood inside right, that seam will be on the top, but on the inside. So that is the way I seam up my hoods. And as per usual, I'm just going to use a regular slip stitch. I'm going to go into that first stitch there, and then I will go into the top of this starting chain 3. Here, and I'll just slip stitch through all of the loops on the hook. Now, by doing this, you kind of save yourself a little bit of hassle because you have one less end to weave in later. But if you prefer to fasten off and do like seam it up with a needle or seam it up, in another way, that is always an option too. I just prefer this method because it's one less end that I have to tie in. I don't have to reattach yarn right here or anything of that nature. I can just go along the top, and this end, of course, will be on the inside of the hood. Sorry if you can hear the girls playing outside. They're in the back pasture, I think, with the goats. And they seem to be having a grand old time, too. Just slip stitching all the way across. Let's see. And I think I have an even number. Yeah, I have an even number of stitches, so there is not going to be an extra one. If you do have an extra one, you can just kind of join 3 stitches together. It's not that big of a deal because it's going to be hidden on the inside, and then we're going to go ahead and fasten off. Just like that. And then with the inside of our cardigan facing towards you, you can see that this is what the hood looks like, and you just take that and turn it right side in, and that gives you your hood, and that's what your seam will look like. And of course that will be the top of your hood. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to be moving on to the edging. I know that a lot of people do their edging, start their edgings like in a corner, but I guess because I'm extra and I feel like I gotta be different, I start mine in the back. So depending on how many rows you did for your length, you need to decide whether or not you want your edging to be on the inside, or the right side or the wrong side. So if you look on my cardigan, this is the right side, and the row before it is the wrong side. So I'm going to start my edging with the wrong side of the cardigan facing me, so that it will be kind of the same, you know, because you can tell your stitches look a little bit different, you know, wrong side versus right side. And so these are my right side stitches, those are my wrong side stitches, and you can tell they're a little bit different, and they're kind of right side, wrong side, right side, wrong side. So my next row, I'm going to go ahead and start with the wrong side facing up. So flipping my cardigan over, and of course you don't have to do it that way. You don't have to overthink it as much as I do, but that's just how I like to do it, so that I need the wrong side facing me, not the right side. So we're going to turn it over, flip it over. There we go. I need the inside facing me. You don't have to overthink it as much as I do, but that's how I like to do it. And to start the edging off, I like to go down the seam, and there's always going to be this little hole here, or triangle of holes. Depending on how many rows you did here, it could be a diamond. But I like to do my best to line up my first double crochet as best as I can with this particular hole, just to keep everything in the center. I know, like I said, I know a lot of cardigans, they always want you to start in a corner, but I prefer to start in the center of the back. So, starting with a slip knot on the hook, I'm just gonna go into the centermost stitch. It doesn't have to be perfect, because really, if you look, it's actually it's not going to be. And I'm gonna rejoin my yarn. And I'm gonna chain up 3, and of course that's gonna count as a double crochet. Actually, I'm going to pull this tail over so that it is already on the inside of the cardigan. And then I'm going to go ahead and chain up 3. In fact, I might go ahead and just double crochet over the top of it for a few stitches to keep it in the inside of the cardigan. So, this is going to be our first row of edging. And we're just going to be placing 1 double crochet in each stitch until we reach this first corner. And I will meet back up with you momentarily when I get all the way across, so that I can show you what we're going to do when we get to this corner here. Okay, as you can see, I am at the end of our little half a row here. And I'm going to put this last double crochet into this double crochet here. Now, if you look, this is actually a chain 3. And normally we would just put a double crochet there. But instead, we're going to go into the hole and we're going to place a corner. So we're going to double crochet, chain 2 and then double crochet again, just like that. And then because this is considered a double crochet, we're going to place another double crochet there. So if I turn my work like this, so that now that we've got our corner here, and we're going to be working along this edge, which was our length, we're going to be placing 2 double crochets around each one of these double crochets. So 2 double crochets in each of the, not in them, but around them, like that. And the total amount that you have is going to depend on how many rows you did for length. Now, when you get to this corner here, this was an actual corner. We're going to put one more in there. This here was an actual corner. You can tell that was the corner of our hexagon. And there's already 1 double crochet worked into this corner. So we're just going to place 1 double crochet in there. And then we're going to place a double crochet into the next stitch, which is going to be a double crochet. It'll be the double crochet that that makes up that corner. And in my case, I am going to go ahead and work over this tail for a few stitches. Just, probably 3. I usually do about 3. And then that kind of keeps it on the inside of the cardigan, as I am working with the inside of the cardigan facing me. And we're going to go up this row, placing 1 double crochet into each stitch. And when we get up here to this corner of the hexagon, we're going to place 1 double crochet into this chain space because we've already worked the other chain space. And then for the hood, we'll be working just like we did down here, 2 double crochets around each of these double crochet rows. And how many you have is going to depend on how many rows you did for your hood height. I will meet back up with you guys when we get up here to our seam, to the seam of our hood. Okay, so I've actually reached the top of my hood, but I did want to show you guys what it looks like. Here in these stitches, it's going to be double crochets into the stitches of your hexagon. That's the front edge of your hexagon. And then up here on the hood part, you can see it's 2 double crochets around each of these double crochet rows that make up the hood. And then here is the corner of a hexagon, and you're just placing 1 double crochet there. And I'm at the seam or just before the seam of my hood, and I'm going to place 2 double crochet there into that double crochet, or around that double crochet, and then the same thing over here, which is actually a chain 3 space, but I'm going to place 2 there. I'm going to turn my work again so you guys can see what I've done. So there's my seam of my hood, and I'm just kind of jumping over the top of it. And now I'm going to continue down the other side of my hood, working 2 double crochets around each one of these double crochets here. And you will notice that you will get these kind of holes or gaps, and that's fine. I mean, I kind of like the way that those look. So now we're going to be working back down this side, the other side of it, of the hood, and then doing the same thing we did on the other side. You know, 1 into this corner the corner of the hexagon, 1 in each of these stitches, and then back to 2 double crochets into each one of these rows for the length. And here we'll be placing a corner, and then for the bottom we will go back to just placing 1 in each stitch until we get back to our starting chain. Okay, so I have made it all the way back to my initial starting chain 3, and I'm going to slip stitch to join. And you can make your edging as wide as you want, depending on how many rows of double crochet that you want to do. I will probably do another 3 rows of double crochet. And to do that, when you go to do that, you're always going to chain 3, which counts as your first double crochet, and then you're going to turn your work. And the reason we do that, is to keep those chain 3s all in a row rather than having them move in kind of a diagonal manner. So those chain 3s, as long as you turn when you go to start your next round, should stay in one column, I guess, for lack of a better term. Now, the reason that I make my edging so wide is actually because the edging adds depth to your hood. So if you want a deeper hood, you know, something that measures, you know, wider back, then you're going to want to add more edging. Also, another thing to keep in mind, if you are going to add buttons to your cardigan, you might consider where you want to place those buttons at, and then mark those stitches, and then your last row of edging, you would go up one side as you usually would, and then when you go back down the other side, you would do a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. That way you would get buttonholes And when you're done with your edging, you can sew on your buttons by hand. Just some things to consider when you're doing your rounds of edging. So I am going to go ahead and finish my edging. And then I will meet back up with you guys. Probably after I've woven in some of these ends, and then I will probably meet back up with you guys to show you guys how I did the sleeves. Okay guys, so I'm back, and I've already woven in all of my ends on the inside of my jacket. I know you can't see everything because it all won't fit in the frame, but I've woven in all of the ends that I had hanging out. And then I have also worked up my first sleeve, and I'm going to go ahead and show you how I did that on the second sleeve. So, for my sleeve, I did 16 rounds. You may want yours longer or shorter, or, however you want to do that. For reference purposes, I did 16 rounds, and measuring from the center of the back out to the end of the sleeve, from the center back to the wrist on mine is 27 inches is what I was shooting for. So that's how I did the measurements for the sleeves. So I'm going to show you how I did this. Let's move this camera back down a little bit. There we go. I've got my slip knot on there. So, just because I'm nitpicky, you can see this is the right side of the stitches. And I'm nitpicky, so I'm actually going to start my rounds from the inside with the wrong side of the stitch facing outward. Because like I said, I'm nitpicky. I gotta be extra or whatever. And I'm gonna put the first double crochet right there in the same stitch that we joined the seam in. So we're gonna go right in here. And it might be a little bit of a tight fit just because that seam is there. And you can see I've already woven that end in. And we're going to slip stitch to rejoin the yarn. I'm going to take this tail and flip it over this way so it's on the inside. And then I'm going to chain up 3. That chain 3 will count as my first double crochet. And then there's this chain 1 right here, and we're just going to go and place a double crochet around that chain 1 like that. I'm hoping that you guys can see this, and as usual I'm going to work over this tail for probably about 2 or 3, usually about 3 stitches. So that was 1, 2, and 3. Let me move this camera a little bit so I can hopefully stay in frame. Okay, so I'm just going to tuck this tail on the inside and hopefully it'll stay out of my way while I'm trying to show you guys. So I just went around the entire sleeve making double crochets. And you know, depending on how big your hexagon was, will determine on how many stitches it is. I'm making a small, so there's not very many stitches. So I'll just be placing one double crochet in each stitch all the way around. All the way around, about halfway there. So when we get back to the beginning of where we started, we will be slip stitching to join the round. But once we slip stitch, we will go ahead and chain up 3, but instead of just carrying on, I like to turn my work so that I have that same consistency with the wrong side of the stitch and then the right side of the stitch throughout the entire cardigan. And if you give me just a minute to get around all of the way, I will show you what I mean. So we are back to the other side with the corner in it. Come on. So this is our corner that's seamed up there. And we're going to place a double crochet around that chain 1. And then we're going to place another double crochet into this chain 1 here that's been already used once for the seaming right here. And then we're going to slip stitch into the top of this starting chain. To join that round. Now, you can go ahead and chain up 3 and just keep going if that's the way you want to do it. But like I said, I tend to want that consistency of wrong or right side of the stitch, wrong side of the stitch. And to achieve that, you have to go ahead and chain up 3 and then turn your work. And in this way, we get the right side of the stitch on the outside of the cardigan. And it matches up quite nicely with what we did down here for the edging. So you're going to continue to do it to do your rows or your rounds until you have a sleeve length that you want. But like I said, for my sleeves, I did 16 rows or 16 rounds. If you need a reference on how long to make your sleeves, you can go to the Craft Yarn Council website, which of course will be linked in the description box, and it will provide you with a typical measurement for the size that you want to make. And because this is the hexagon cardigan and it can be kind of hard to measure, I just measured from the center back point, which is right here where the triangle is, out to the edge of the wrist. So once you finish your sleeves, you're all good to go. You can weave in your ends if you haven't done so already. And your cardigan should be finished. Alright guys, so hopefully your cardigan is mostly finished. I hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial. I know it was a fun design for me to put together. I'm not gonna lie, the filming of the tutorial was a little bit tedious. I did complete the tutorial over the course of 3 days, and this is actually pre-editing Adrian's, so I still have all that to do. Anyways, if you guys have any questions or comments, constructive criticisms, please let me know in the comments section below, or you can email me. You can always find my email in the description box. So yeah, I suppose for now, thank you so much for watching, and I hope I get to see some of you guys working up this hexagon cardigan, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye!